Hey guys, what's up? I hope you're having a great day today. Happy Thursday, October 3rd. We have a game tonight. We're still undefeated. It's so exciting. Vega got 2 goals in the last game, and Enzo had multiple steals. He's all excited. He's like, I've learned how to dribble sideways. I don't even know what he's talking about, but I love to see him so empowered, in what he's doing and in himself and being confident. And actually, the sun energy is a lot about that. So we're going to talk about that. Bear's also been looking at some things in business, and we've talked about some really cool ideas. So that's been a lot of fun. And as for today, we are in 48.2 in the sun, and we are still swimming in the fears of the spleen. So these are our primal fears. We're going into the darkness, and the sun and the moon are both in splenic gates right now. So we're dealing with 2 fears today. The first is the fear of inadequacy, and the second is the fear of failure. So these are like primal, instinctive, intuitive fears, and they're for our survival. They will ensure our survival. So much of the time we don't want to allow our fear. We don't even realize that we're feeling fear because we've repressed it. And I want to encourage you to make fear your friend. Completely open spleen, right? Make your fears your friend. There is nothing so dark in this universe that it doesn't want more than a little bit of recognition, attention. It's like, just put your attention on that thing, feel it, let it be there. It's not you. You're not choosing for it to be there, but if it's allowed, it'll process with time, and then it will stop controlling your actions. And so fears today. 48.2 specifically, we are seeing degeneracy, and projecting out our depth, projecting out our intuition. And this is all about correcting things that deny human rights. Okay, this gate is the well. It is the depths of the depths, the darkest place, the mysterious place. And what can happen here is that we can become aware of vital information to correct the pattern for the collective, right? We can come to grips with the right pattern. And the mastery of this gate is just understanding the form, like that is how we are able to fulfill human rights, is by understanding the form. And so it's like, what's the form? The form is what happens. The form is what is. The form is the body. And if we can understand what actually happens, we can recognize and correct and perfect and ensure a safe future for ourselves. So I know that's all a little confusing. Let me give you an example of how we use this energy in a healthy way. So my mom and I, we were talking about our employment process, and it's broken, in my opinion. It's so sad to me that I see employees posting about, I've filled out 100 job applications, I've done this, that, and the other. They're looking for a job, and it seems like they can't find one. And then on the other hand, you have employers that are like, nobody wants to work, we can't find any employees. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense that both of these groups of people have this problem. Like, to me, that means that we're having a breakdown in our employment system. And so it's like we were just kind of like throwing stuff around about that. I'm like, we should go back to an in-person hiring process. This is what I've seen. I've seen it over and over repetitively in this cycle, this collective cycle of change. And I'm like, that's broken. How could we make it better? Well, if people went in, filled out application, had interview like I did, for my first jobs, we could literally get rid of all this detail fluffy shit of having to spend 2 hours to create an account, make an application, cover letter, that people are just doing in AI anyways. I mean, let's get real. None of it is real at all anymore. And it's like, we can eliminate routes into businesses for scammers, because I'm sure so many applications are filled out by robots every single day. And I'm sure that's also part of why the hiring process is so hard. It's like, we could also eliminate so much third-party recruiting. There doesn't need to be a middleman. If person is looking for a job and business owner is looking for an employee, we just need to help them get together, and humans can do that in simple ways, where we go into the building, we see the person face to face, and so this is us looking at these things, and we're like, yeah, this isn't working for humanity. Like, so we've got to work together to pull out the depth of us and correct this pattern to ensure that we can continue moving safely forward. And so you can see it takes a lot of people. Like, how long will it be until we change our employment system? How deeply frustrating is that? How many people are getting grinded up in that right now? And we just wait, and we just wait, and we just wait for that collective change. And so it's like, this is something that's about, all of us and not just any one person. And we have to know that nothing escapes us through time. We all do it over and over and over and over again until it literally, like, humans can't do it anymore. And then it has to change, so nothing escapes this, and it will be frustrating as we see it, as we're waiting, as we're doing it. And what we don't want to do is turn it on ourselves. Like, if we're turning this on ourselves, we're feeling inadequate. And usually what we want to do is find some external authority figure or body of knowledge or something that we can focus on to try to become smarter, better, whatever we feel inadequate about. We're trying to use knowledge or external authority to become adequate. And the hard part about that is this energy is so not about telling somebody what they need to do or that what is good for them. It's like, say that we're talking about the employment process and the person I'm talking to is like, no, that's just not true. Our employment process works. The way I'm supposed to use my depth is to encourage them to go fill out an application. I'm like, okay, well, just, go to this website and do what I did so you can see. Go understand the form. Go understand what is. I have to empower them to go see what's real over what they think, because that's realer for them than what's actually happening out there. So one of the best things we can do with our depth is encourage the person to go get the understanding for themselves. And so when you're looking for an external authority figure, those people are not going to be encouraging you to go get experience for yourself, right? They're going to be giving you validation or whatever about whatever you're supposed to be learning, doing according to what they think, and so it's two different things. And so we have to get out there, we have to learn the form. And this is part of the reason why I love human design, because human design is knowledge of the form. It's the mechanics of life. It's what happens. It's what is, and it's available to anyone. But the problem is that you have to see for yourself. Like the way that I've transformed over my 9-year experiment, I can't tell that to you. I can't give that to you. I can't sell it to you in a book or a personal development class. Like, the best I can do is encourage you to experiment so that you can gain depth about your own life and your own body and all of these things. You can come into depth and understanding about your form. And so this gate it holds the potential. It is the place where it begins of black magic. So what is black magic? It's literally making it about learning versus living. A human needs to do something to be good enough to even think about, like, all these things you need to do, become, learn. It's not real. And it's like, that right there is what makes human beings feel inadequate. And then they start that, like, external validation game. It's like, we have to know that we're adequate so that we can be out there living, we can be out there sharing our depth and not distracting ourselves and finding security in knowledge, looking away from our lives because we're afraid and we feel inadequate. And so, enter your body and allow that fear. This gate is so much about trusting life. So let's talk about the line. The definition of the gate: the necessary and qualitative foundation that is a prerequisite to establishing common good. So the 𝐒�XALT, without recognizing and understanding the body, what is the pattern, we cannot establish common good. Like, we can't. And I'm sorry, that wasn't the 𝐒�XALT, but that's like an explanation of the description. So it's like, until each person gets in there and gets their basic understanding, it's like, I could never tell my husband that corn upsets his digestive system. Like, he has to be aware enough of his body to recognize that as it's happening, or for the doctor to, like, tell them that because of what she saw on a test. But it's like, that's not something that I could possibly become aware of because I'm not inside of his body. And so because we can't know anyone else's body, we can't know anyone else's pattern, and if we can get them embodied, their body will tell them everything that they need to know, because their body is made for this lifetime. Like, it's made for it, and it knows how to function within it. It's made for this time. And so to me, embodiment is the new security, the only security. Like, there's not going to be any security left in information and knowledge. And so we have to embody. And it is security. Like, it can be a really beautiful thing, because when you're embodied, no one can take your life from you. Like, no one can take your unique life. It comes to you because it's yours. And so it's like, wow, that eliminates so much of the bullshit that people think about with like competition and trying to control circumstances and all this stuff, like keeping secrets and not being transparent. It's like no one on planet Earth can stop your life from coming to you when you're living it, when you're in your body and you're responding to it and you're letting life lead. It's like it doesn't have to be about others at all. And so here's the real exaltation: confidence in resisting inferior influences, the detriment, a lack of confidence that invites interference and decadence. Okay, so something about confidence, it's all about accepting what's right for you. As soon as you know what's right for you, you can confidently move within that. It continues to happen in your life, and it's just what is, and so it's like, as you recognize and accept who you are, you can be more and more confident. As you try to change yourself and learn other, try to be them over there, that doesn't result in confidence. That results in feelings of inadequacy because you can't be them over there, So it's like being who you are, accepting who you are. This is what makes us confident. And we don't have to let people pull us away from our taste, from our intuition. It's like, let's say that you're a designer in an office and you've designed this logo and you just know it's it. Like, you can't help it. You know that it's perfect. And your boss is like, no, I don't want to show that to them. Try this, that, and the other. It's like, you could try this, that, and the other. But if you feel strongly enough about it, you can take this as an opportunity to stand by your intuition. You could even get a job at another place, because what's important is not changing your depth to please others. What's important is finding the people who resonate with your depth, because they are out there, and you don't need to contort yourself, conform yourself, change your creations, feel inadequate because you're not being recognized where you are. And so moving into Earth, we are in a heart gate. We are in the gate of control. And you guys, this gate is crazy in my life. We're in 21.2 today. The legitimate power to control. And it's willpower. This is the ego, the I. And my dad had this gate. And then when he passed, I lost it in my life for a while. And then when we had our youngest, he has this gate in a pretty prominent position. So it's like, I can see that genetic continuity. I can see that this gate conditions me. It's in my life to influence me in very deep ways, but it's not an energy that I have myself. I have gate 51, which is another heart gate, and I have the whole channel there. So this 21, I love to watch it. Enzo has 21.3, and it's a really big thing in his life. And so we're in 21.2. It's called Might is Right. So we are grounded and projecting out control today. And this is all about overcoming persistent and intentional interference. It's like, as we all become our own authority, everything that we know about control is going to change. We're all going to step into the own driver's seat of our lives and be that source for ourselves. But we haven't made it there yet. And it's very painful watching people attempt to control each other into what they think they should be when they literally can't be that, So it's like, we can be interfered with all the time. I can be doing my thing and someone can come up to me and tell me I'm doing it wrong. I need to change it. It's not ready. It's not time. People can just stop me from what I'm doing constantly. And it's like, at some point, today, this week, we all get to amplify this power of legitimately stopping that interference and being able to move in our life. And so maybe you see some of this today, and I'll give some examples. The first thing I want to talk about, though, is how we've degraded willpower, because we don't treat it right. We really don't understand it at all. We are constantly exchanging it. It's like some people create it and put it out into the world. Other people receive it and amplify it inside of them. So some people don't create willpower. Other people do create willpower. The neutrinos will give us all willpower at certain points in time. So it's this thing that comes and goes. And the people that have it, they are made to be able to make a promise, be loyal, honor a bargain. It's all about the tribe and helping the tribe maintain itself. And it's like, the people without defined willpower, they shouldn't make promises. They shouldn't try to prove anything or show up in any type of willful way. If they don't have the energy to do something, they shouldn't try to do it. And so it's like, because we don't know that, because we're not aware of this at its most basic level, we treat it all wrong. The people who naturally create it, you know, it goes into people receiving it, they're making it bigger. They're looking at the person who's made to control and telling them no, and they start controlling them, you know, and they're not made to control. They're just feeling the energy from the other. And so it's like the way that we use each other, stop each other from being what we are, we don't understand. It's not seen, you know, it's not something that we can see, this energy moving back and forth, but it has serious physical, mental, emotional effects on us. And so as we come into better awareness of ourselves, better understanding of ourselves, our themes of control are going to change in ways that we really can't understand. So we can all be open to knowing that I think that we're little babies in the area of control, and we're going to learn a lot about it. And so this is the most powerful ego gate, the gate of the I, you know, the I, legitimate power to control, serve and protect the tribe. But here's the problem. Control is bigger than I. Control is about the tribe. It's about we at the end of the day. And when it comes to control, you have to be invited to take control, or someone has to ask you and you respond, or you have to ask for permission, because it's not just about you. It's about that we. And so we're coming into this understanding of control, consent in control, and making it about bigger than just I and what I want, I deserve. And, you know, I think so much of that is really kind of human rightsy too. And so this is all about the needs of the community, you know, establishing what works, food, shelter, we've got the right work, we've got enough time to take off so that we're not working constantly. You know, it's about maintaining a healthy structure for your communities and your families. And so when we look at the line, it says the legitimacy of action in response to flagrant and persistent interference, the exaltation, the rejection of interference on the material plane, and the detriment, the ego uncomfortable with severity. You know, it's like getting interference can feel so frustrating to human beings, and it makes them feel worthless because it makes them feel like they're not in control. And it's like, we're not. We could all just start there. None of us are in control. We all live this choicelessness, you know, and it's like at some point in time, someone's coming up with you, they're stopping your personal process. They're telling you got to change what you're doing, or you got to be here at this time. They're making you powerless. You know, it's like at some point in time, you have the right to be like, no, if I'm going to be here, you're going to have to let me make my own decisions, stop micromanaging me, stop getting in the way, you know, and if they can't hear that, you can leave. You'll find somewhere better. You got to trust life. But what we can't do is continue to take that interference over and over. And like, it hurts us. It hurts our hearts. And you can see it in society, like the amount of heart disease and heart attacks, like we're really bad about nurturing this willpower heart energy, you know? And if you think about like the heart beating, thump, thump, just forever, and there's a little rest in there, like that's why it's a beat. It's a compulsion, and then a retraction, like a letting go. And it's like that thing going on. It's like, that's so much like willpower to me, just continuing. And if you push that thing past the point of no return, it'll just snap. We have to rest for our heart. We have to stand up for our processes and what we're doing. We have to be able to take control of our own life if that's right for us to do so. And so maybe you're seeing some of this today. And let me see, I'll do a little bit of the moon, but I know this was kind of long because I missed the first line day. The moon is in 32. So we're also in a splenic gate here. We're driven by continuity, maybe seeing change in what we're doing. We're trying to like manage that change and continue, you know? And so this is the primal fear of failure. And what we should know is that failure is such a friend. You know, failure teaches us so much. It's just like that gate of depth, you know, you got to push them out there to go do it so that they can see. It's like failure is valuable. It's purposeful. A lot of times it's better than anything a human can teach anyone. And so you have to feel adequate and able to get out there and face that failure. Like if it teaches you something and you're able to go do something more, you gained, you know, and we can let that teach us all the way to where we're going. And so this says the instinct to adapt in the now without losing continuity. It's like we're looking at our processes. We're like, can we change it? Can we keep going? Do we need more money? Do we have enough money? Where are the resources? Do we have the people, the right people with us? You know, it's like we're looking at what we're doing And what we can know is the only thing that endures is change. This gate is a huge, prolonged indecision, not being able to make a choice, not knowing what to do. And what it's really doing is agonizing over the risks of being pushed to transform. What I want us to all know is being pushed to change and transform is not a failure. A dad who begins to embrace and accept his emotional spectrum is being good for his children, being good for his wife, being good for every person that he comes in contact with. When he realizes that he had suppressed his emotions, that might feel like a failure to him, but it's not. It's a doorway to transformation and change that could benefit every single person, including him. It could change everything in his life. It could change everything that he has and where they are and what that looks like. And so we want that. We don't have to be afraid of being pushed towards change and transformation. And we can know that change is the only permanent thing. So if we can make peace with change, if we can make peace with uncertainty, we can keep moving out there for the betterment of all of us. And so today we are empowered to share our intuition and take control in meeting change, take control in our personal processes, really. And you aren't inadequate. You're not. There's nothing that you need to learn to be who you are. You can be who you are at the degree that you are right now, and that in itself will take you more and more so as you just honor the body that you're in. And you have depth, you have the skills, you'll get your timing. If it's not happening now, it's going to happen, especially as you live your life, you can't stop. And at least for me, I have a lot of logical energy. As I live, I just collect that depth, that knowing in my completely open spleen, and that can be really cool. And we can also know that failure is a great teacher. It's a friend. It's allowed. Fear, great friend and teacher. It's allowed. And you guys can trust life and love yourself. I will be back on Sunday. I hope you have a great couple of days. Bye, guys.